Welcome back, focused learners. Today, we're diving headfirst into the absolutely chaotic, high-stakes explainer of the action-adventure Temple of the Sun. Look, this isn't just your standard run-of-the-mill treasure hunt. Oh no. It's this rapid-fire collision of ancient history, crazy high-tech gadgets, and, well, incredibly lethal mercenaries. And the ultimate prize driving all this absolute madness, the legendary, elusive City of Gold itself, El Dorado.
To really grasp the stakes here, we've got to ground our story in some pretty visceral historical reality. Just imagine reading this actual 1532 diary entry from Vicente de Valverde. He was a friar who tagged along with the Spanish conquest. He wrote, "A shimmering mirage appeared before us, 40,000 Inca dressed in gold under Pizarro's command." I mean, wow. That one dramatic visual establishes not just the staggering, almost unbelievable wealth involved, but also the blood-soaked, essentially cursed path that anyone searching for El Dorado has to walk down.
And honestly, that brings us to the core tension of the whole thing. We really have to ask ourselves, what actually happens when an ancient, world-ending 2012 prophecy collides head-on with heavily armed modern-day mercenaries? Well, I'll tell you. It creates a massive, high-speed collision between ancient myth and modern firepower.
Section 1. The Myth of El Dorado.
Okay, let's look at how this history builds, because it's a wild ride. We start way back in 1532 with Pizarro's arrival, right? But then, just 8 years later, in 1540, the locals capture Bishop Valverde, and holding him completely responsible for the conquest, they literally pour molten gold down his throat, asking him when he's finally had enough. I mean, it's brutal, but it's undeniable proof that this treasure is steeped in blood. Then we take this massive leap centuries forward to 2012, which, you might remember, was the date of the famous Maya doomsday prophecy. The real mystery here is how these wildly disparate points in time are actually entirely connected.
So, the crucial detail is that all of this sprawling, chaotic history culminates in one single, tangible artifact, a hidden amulet. You see, Valverde was given this amulet for safekeeping, and he ended up hiding it beneath what is now this massive cathedral in Cusco. Just think about the irony of that for a second. You've got a pagan artifact meant to unlock a mythical city, deliberately concealed deep inside a Christian sanctuary. That tiny little piece of metal? That is the exact spark that ignites our modern-day treasure hunt.
Section 2. Enter the treasure hunter. We've got a total clash of ideologies driving this pursuit. On one side, we have Jack Wilder. He's this opportunistic, honestly kind of reckless archaeologist who's just desperately seeking historical glory. And on the exact opposite side, Colonel Sam Grime. This guy was discharged from the SAS for literal war crimes, and now he's a ruthless mercenary selling extreme violence to the highest bidder. So Jack's academic obsession is about to slam right into Grime's deadly efficiency.
So how does this collision actually play out? Well, Jack and his partner, Carlos, managed to steal the diary and the amulet. But then a wealthy senator comes along and offers Jack a cool $2 million for it. Jack actually refuses. He senses there's a much bigger truth out there. The senator's response? He unleashes Graham, and Graham doesn't mess around. He kills Carlos, blows up an entire ancient cave just to get to Jack. Jack gets arrested, then miraculously bailed out by these desperate researchers, and suddenly he's forced into this super uneasy alliance just to stay alive.
Section 3. Decoding the Inca Prophecy.
Okay, so understanding the Inca code is absolutely non-negotiable for our heroes right now. The Inca worshipped three primary creatures. First, the serpent, which acted as the guardian of the underworld. Then, the puma, standing for man on earth. And finally, the condor, representing the afterlife. Interestingly enough, Jack actually saw these exact symbols right before Graham's explosive ambush. These three creatures, they're the ultimate cipher to this whole thing.
So the researchers bring up the Ketwa prophecy. This prophecy basically states that when these three creatures reunite, the earth will awaken. Jack puts the pieces together and realizes that an ancient calendar links this prophecy directly to December 21st, 2012. It turns out, the City of Gold isn't just some ancient bank vault. It's a doomsday clock. To find it, they absolutely need the physical calendar, which happens to be hidden in the most enlightened place on Earth, the Temple of the Sun.
Section 4. Ambush in the jungle. Before they hit the jungle canopy, let's talk about their one major technological advantage, the X-Tab. Brought along by Maria, this thing is basically a mini MRI on steroids for geological formations. It's totally waterproof, uses muon-based resonance, and visually maps out what's hidden deep underground.
It is an incredibly powerful tool, and honestly, it's the only thing standing between them finding the gold and just wandering around the jungle forever.
And believe me, they need every single advantage they can get, because Graham is hunting them down. His men stage this insane mid-air ambush, completely shredding Jack's Cessna and forcing a super violent crash landing. From that moment on, it is just a brutal, relentless trek. Pushed to the absolute brink, the team has to ditch their gear and literally leap into deadly river rapids just to escape. And the ironic part? To survive, Jack has to keep pushing forward, which means he's effectively leading Graham right to the front door of the Temple of the Sun.
Section 5. The Temple of the Sun.
So they finally reach the coordinates. Maria powers up the X-Tab scanner, it shoots a blast into the Earth, and it reveals a single, incredibly validating number: 4. There are exactly 4 hidden levels beneath the surface. That's the ultimate confirmation. They are standing directly on top of it.
Now, actually breaching these ancient ruins, it's basically a giant 3-step puzzle. Step 1, use the X-Tab to locate the precise entrance. Easy enough. Step 2, Jack has to use that mythology we talked about earlier. He has to physically align the stone symbols of the serpent, the condor, and the puma to unlock the door mechanism. But Step 3 is a massive roadblock. Because once they get inside, deciphering the ancient symbols reveals that you don't just walk into the City of Gold. To fully enter, you must possess exactly 200 distinct keys. No way around it.
Inside the temple walls, though, this massive revelation completely hits Jack. He's looking around at the offerings, studying the architecture, and the truth just snaps right into focus. The Inca didn't consolidate all their gold into El Dorado to hide it from Pizarro and the Spanish invasion. Not at all. They hid it because they genuinely believed the world was going to end. They were actively protecting their most sacred wealth from an expected doomsday apocalypse.
But right as he figures this out, Graham catches up to them, and at gunpoint, he delivers this chilling reality check. Jack asks him, why are you blowing up clues instead of digging up all this treasure? Well, Graham's motivation isn't historical glory, it's modern economics. Just think about it for a second. If someone floods the global markets with an entire ancient city made of solid gold, the price of gold drops to 0 overnight. Graham was hired by some extremely powerful people just to destroy the evidence. He's making sure El Dorado stays hidden forever simply to protect global financial markets.
Which leaves us with a really provocative final thought. We spend so much time romanticizing the discovery of lost cities, right? But if the greatest treasure in human history was actually found today, who exactly would pay a private army of mercenaries to make sure it stayed buried forever? Thank you so much for joining me today, Focus Learners. Keep asking the big questions, and I'll see you in the next explainer.